Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, May 25th. Oh my goodness, 25th already. Great news. We finally got the ticker symbol for SpaceX when it comes public. The filing aims for June 12th. Just mark that on your calendars. That's not set in stone yet. It could be a different date, but it looks like the target date for now. And the symbol of SpaceX, it'll trade under the call symbol SPCX. Sam, Paul, Charlie, X-ray. Sam, Paul, Charlie, X-ray. And what's really interesting is I've just been thinking about the growth of the satellite industry alone. I started to dig in a little bit. Why is satellite such a big deal all of a sudden? We've had a lot of this technology, and I started to dig in to see where Starlink, which is SpaceX's satellite company, is on the list. And Starlink is as big as the 7 other leading satellite competitors combined, okay? In 2025, Starlink did $11.4 billion in revenue. Now, Viasat, which was the dominant one in the industry, is second with $4.6 billion in revenue. SES is $2.9 billion. EchoStar, their satellite division, is $1.4 billion. Eutelsat is $1.2 billion. Iridium, $872 million. Global Star is $273 million. AST Space Mobile is $71 million. So this is like how the industry looks. And it begs the question, why is satellite such a big thing now? Why is it growing so much? And what's really driving this? Where basically a company like SpaceX can launch Starlink and basically be as double the size of the industry. Basically, where's all this demand coming from? It helps to put it in the context of warfare. We focus on warfare a lot. You know, as a classical historian, I'm always focused on great power competition. I'm obsessed with how great countries, great empires have lost their position and how do they stay invigorated and strong and fight off challengers like China, because I want to make sure that our kids and grandkids grow up in a world where the US doesn't have to take orders from anybody. So basically, what's happening is under Trump's first term, and I don't think a lot of people give credit for this really, then Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, they called him Mad Dog, which is really not a great moniker for him. He's more of a philosopher. He started really studying our military, and he realized a lot of things that you see now happening in Iran and Ukraine. He realized that we were fighting wars with 20th century weapons. Basically, the strategy that we had used was very much based on blitzkrieg, massed armor formations, punch through, really poke at something. But now things have been changing. So one of the things that really he nurtured was called Project Replicator, which has been getting press lately. It's something we've talked about here, which basically means we want to create a scenario where we can replicate drones at scale. And you see how important this is in Iran and Ukraine. Ukraine has pushed Russia back and really taken the lead in this, or an advantage, maybe even winning a bit, because of their drone production. They had all these cheap drones. You could see it with Iran. Iran's causing us trouble, and they have cheap drones. They're doing it with $10,000 drones. So obviously you could see us moving there to a world where drones are all working together. Now there's a race going on between the US and between China. There's a race to see who can get to swarms of drones and that are all working together as a beehive. And how do they do that? They're all communicating with satellites, okay? This is how Starlink comes into this, okay? They're all using satellites. They're all pulling data from satellites so they can make decisions together in real time. One of the challenges is, when you're doing that, is the speed at which you're able to pull the data. The company that actually really is able to do that at the fastest pace possible, make those millions of little decisions where the drones could all identify, target, and kill other objects, you know what I mean? The company or the country that gets that faster is the country that wins. So there's a race to increase the speed and the way these all network things communicate together. Very, very important. And that involves the transmission of data between all of these satellites and all these drones working together, pulling from the satellites. They all have to talk. They all got to communicate, right? Real fast. And that actually has a big challenge. So there's a company that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. okay? We're gonna be talking about it on our webinar tomorrow, that actually compresses the data, shrink wraps it, so you can get it where it needs to be faster. So you're a lot faster at this. I know it's wonky. I'm talking about stuff most people would probably roll their eyes out. But this is an impressive company, okay? They already are partnered with NVIDIA. They're partnered with Viasat, which, as I talked to you a minute ago, is the second biggest satellite company after Starlink. They're partnered with Intel. They're partnered with HPE. They're partnered with Ericsson. What their software does is it helps this data move faster. Remember, that scenario where you have a bazillion drones buzzing around. The ones that move the fastest is the army, the military that'll win. And this company has a partnership with US Space Command. So these guys are the real deal. And here's what's really interesting. It's like SpaceX in a sense, in that it's a private company that we're going to be talking about it. But unlike SpaceX, you can actually get in at the private company price. Basically, you can get in at the price Elon's buddies got into SpaceX. It's coming public at $1.5 trillion, $2 trillion. Those guys didn't pay that for that. Those guys got in real cheap, 100 billion. They're making 10, 20, 30x their money. This is an opportunity to get that kind of upside in a key foundational piece software that is right in the mix of all of these very important things as we move to this networked warfare, the 21st century warfare. This is a company that's right in the middle of it. They're partnered with all the right players. You know, Viasat. I mean, come on. After Starlink, that's the #2 satellite company. They're helping all the data move faster. And US Space Command, the US government, the military. You can see how this works. You can see how a company like this is going to help all of us move faster. Never forget, one of the first lessons of history is this. Success in warfare is based on speed. Speed. Blitzkrieg, lightning war, speed. The country that uses technology to create the fastest kind of capacity or ability to attack their opponents wins, period. From whether it's Alexander the Great befuddling the Persians on horseback, the Mongols on horseback, Caesar marching across Rome, always faster than his opponents. It's the military that uses tech the best to make their military the fastest is the one that wins. And that's where it's at. And this company that's private that we are going to discuss tomorrow at 1 o'clock does just that. They have partnerships with all the players. Anyway, that's all I have. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.